1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the place to be. I'm your host, Adam Mill. To the right of me, my co-host, Cuz the Governor. We have Skills Mega, the hip hop scholar. We have Ty, the man off the grid. In the middle, we have Quan Bizzle, Pause, Jammer One. We're still looking for him. Hopefully he's okay. Normally, sometimes he's joining in late. Fellas, how's everything? We got a lot to talk about today. And hopefully our conversation be just as good as it was off air. You know what I'm saying? Because once the cameras roll, it's just a different scenario. What we was just talking about? See, that's my age, man. I forgot already.
We was just talking about wrestling for real.
Okay. All right, let's the YG and Game Verzuz. Skills brought it to my attention. Is what he does always. He stays on top of media and all the information. Appreciate that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because half of the stuff I wouldn't be privy to if you did not inform me of. I watched it. I actually listened to it because, at work you can't be on the phones like that. So everything in my pocket. So I think my visuals was like on the best parts, you know what I'm saying, when they brought the ladies on stage and stuff. That's another story, you know what I'm saying? That's another topic as well, you know what I'm saying? He brought a bunch of Mexican ladies on there. We get to all that. But
yeah, we need to talk about that too, for real. On a serious note.
Okay, that's what's up. So what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it, all right? First of all, let's start off with the score. I didn't like the fact that social media deemed it 3 out of 12, right? They should have gave Game a little bit more respect than that. This is my first time actually listening to YG. I think I remember I told y'all a few podcasts back ago that I'm not even familiar with none of his music. It's not that I don't like as an artist. I just, haven't checked it all. So this gave me a newfound respect for YG, right? And I did not know that he had so many bangers in his catalog. I really didn't, I think that, and y'all can challenge me on this. I think the Schoolboy or somebody more his generation would have been more of a Verzuz, more of a fitting match for him. But I like the fact that they did mix generations up, like older school against newer school. Although both of them are seasoned artists, but YG is more relevant in hip hop today's time, right? I think a lot of things that Game did shot himself in the foot because his out of the studio antics really played the part in people not wanting to vote for him. It's not that he didn't have a great catalog, because if we talking catalog, right? And I'm being biased. I can correct me on this. We talking about catalog. We talking about skills. We talking about culture-wise. We talking about bringing the coast back to life and being a face of a coast during the early 2000s. Game all day. Because even YG said that we looked up to you, man, listening to your music. You understand? But I found a newfound respect for YG because unlike Game, YG did not have a cosign. He didn't have a Dr. Dre, didn't have an Eminem, he didn't have a 50 Cent. So for him to come out of Compton, come out of his neighborhood like that, that's a triumph within itself. So let's get back to the little bit that I intaked on the battle. I believe if Game would have stuck to the documentary, he would have had a better chance of winning. That's my take. And the reason why Game probably got his ass handed to him, because a lot of Game music is not regional. It's outside of LA. So matches make fights. Venues make fights. So if they would have been in a neutral part, let's say they done the Verzuz in Chicago, right? Just hypothetically speaking. Game would have had a better chance. But due to YG making more regional records, and those regional records made its way outside of LA, Game didn't have a chance. And I don't want to take up too much time. Anybody can go first and have at.
Well, the game defeated himself when he drank that whole bottle of Don Julio. That's first and foremost.
Was that real though? Was that real?
Yes, it was. I watched that whole shit. That nigga was turned to the max. I was watching it live. I was like, he gonna go viral. And sure enough, he went viral. There's like six or seven different clips of him going viral because of different things he did on stage. And I'm glad that he was having fun, enjoying himself. You feel me? You only live once. But I think that the game approached this more so as a celebration, which is also a record that he should have did if you know that song by him. But I think that he mainly wanted to give YG his flowers, and he clearly is a supporter of YG. You know what I mean? To me, it looked like he knew every YG song that was playing, and he knew the words to the majority of the songs. And I think that, it's good to have camaraderie, but I don't think that the game came there to battle. Because his second song was One Blood. I would have saved that for later on. There's a lot of songs that he could have done, but then we also got to think too of where they were at. You know what I mean? No disrespect to the West Coast. I think they have a lot of MCs. You feel me? They got Razcast, they got Dell, they got Kendrick, who many believe is one of the best, if not the best alive at this point in time. With that being said, this is not New York. You feel me? New York, that's the home of the, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the home of the park jams. Like, you feel me? Like they battle differently. Like what's valued more in East Coast hip hop is not really valued that much on the West Coast. You get what I'm saying? So YG had more bangers. You feel me? And like you said, he had more songs he played more hits. While the game, at one point in time, it was more so he was trying to get his bars up. Like I forget what song it was, but he was like, he said that he's the only person from the West who can rap with Jada. You know what I mean? Like I think that he tried too early to show off his pen, which is fine, but this wasn't a battle in New York. This was a battle over there. So over there, it's like they make a lot of party music. That's what they known for, is women, weed, and weather. So YG kind of played into that, and I think that YG spanked them, and it didn't have to be like that. But at the same time, I don't think that the game was really trying to battle. You feel me? Like he was off Don Julio, he was off two other liquors too. I'm not really sure what else he was drinking, but he was on one. You feel me? So I think that he kind of defeated himself. I don't think he wanted to win. I think that the game feels like he's a solidified artist, and he feels like he's a West Coast legend and a legend in the game, period. And I think it's hard to argue against that. But I do think that it was a lot of people were shocked that YG won in such a fashion, but YG has an extensive catalog. You know what I mean?
But then somebody told me the game is currently on tour, and that could have been bad for his tour sales. That the fact that he did lose the battle, but like you said, he wasn't there to battle. It was more so like a performance.
Yeah, I don't see this as a battle. Like if this was a battle, the game could have brought out Wayne. He could have brought out Drake. Like he could have. You feel me? The game is one of the only people from Cali that didn't turn their back on Drake.
Yeah, he brought out Drake. That would have killed everything. If he would have brought out Wayne, that's the crazy part. He had songs where Wayne was featured on it, but Wayne didn't show up on stage. Although he brought guest appearances on, features on stage, both parties. But like I said, if he would have brought out, like you said, Game has more star power as far as features. He could have easily won, right?
Yeah.
But real quick, Skills, before we move to Gov. The reason why I asked you was the drink real in his bottle, because I heard someone said on a podcast that Game former manager or road manager said that Game doesn't have real alcohol in his bottles. Like he would mix it with apple juice and water to make it seem like a dark liquor, or he'd have something to make it look like white liquor. I'll send you the clip.
Did you see how he was dancing last night?
Yeah, no. I had no doubt that that's not a facade. He was really, and I think there's reason why he shared the alcohol with somebody to let somebody know. Remember, he gave the female some alcohol, and he's like, "Yeah, that's real." You know what I'm saying? Because it is out there. The Game don't drink alcohol on stage. He be fronting. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And if he does, man, that's fraudulent. That's very, you know, and that
I mean,
ties
he
in.
dropped his flag too, for real. I don't know if you saw that clip, but he was doing a lot of things that were out of character last night. He picked it up though with the quickness, you know what I mean? But
Go.
You see how he was hitting his chest? That told me that was real.
Yeah.
Off the break, that told me that was a real. I was like, oh, he guzzled that for sure.
Did you perform drunk though?
Huh?
say what?
Is it possible to perform drunk about
Yes.
slurring and messing up your voice?
Yes.
You know, just like slipping, like forgetting and slurring your voice, or just
Yes.
wilding out on stage and like just all filthy.
It's it's not for beginners though. That has to be something that you habitually do.
Yeah. Like you gotta think about it when you do something enough. Like the same way you talk about, we can look at old 80s and 90s basketball, and they'll tell you that that's what they was on the court. They was playing like that. You know what I mean? But
They were high. They was on the coat.
Both. It was a combination. You know what I mean? But we didn't look at them thinking that at the time. We were watching the games. You know what I mean? We thinking, all right, these prime athletes, they taking care of themselves. That's what we thinking. We watching the commercials. So it's the same thing. We watch a lot of these folks that be newscasters. They coked up. So
We've been around J.O.'s, man. I don't know if he's still alive, but if he is, shout out to him. You remember J.O.'s?
Yeah.
J.O.'s used to be drunk on stage a lot.
Yep.
Just drunk in the studio, wilding out. That's why I asked you.
Yep.
Shout out, the late Tommy Hollow. That's the first time I seen somebody fall out in the booth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he got so high that Ron was playing the beat and everybody rocking, and we like, yo, what's going on? Quiet. All you heard was bloop. And we go in there, my man stretched out like that. The beat still playing, he out of it. Yo, we dragging him out.
That's crazy. But yeah, that's wild. That's what it is. What's his name? Remember Daryl, DMC?
How familiar?
From Run DMC?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said somebody we knew personally.
No. He used to take like 240s before a show.
240s is crazy, yo.
Yeah. That to get the edge off, bro.
And again, he said it was like stage fright that he had back then. So
yeah, I feel him. I think I suffer from that, but the one time or two times I can remember performing, like when I performed in DC, I had terrible stage fright. And Travis Lucas didn't make it no better when he gave me that 8 Mile speech and shit. Looking in my eyes like, it's your time. It's your time. And I'm just looking at him like, nigga, it's your time. It's your time. And I haven't picked up alcohol in over 9 years, bro, but I ain't gonna lie to you, I was staring at that bartender.
Yeah, I think I might.
I was staring at that bartender, yo. I was like, just give me a swig just to get the edge off. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't drink that night, but once the beat played and the energy from the crowd, I just went off. I ain't give a damn if they liked it or not. I was in my own little zone doing my thing, man. So some people can pull it off, man.
That's what you gotta do. That's why some people go through all the things that they go through.
Yeah.
They take to something like, think about remember Whitney when she was going through her last tour, you know what I mean, going through everything. And you could see that's what was going on with her. She was trying to grab that last bit of I don't know, it's like your mojo in a way, your vibe. You're trying to grab that. They trying to get that back again. And I think that's what's going on with Game, at the Verzuz. I think that's what's going on. So the hype of that moment, you know what I mean? At the same time, he's like, he understands he has a star power. At the same time, but on the stage, it's like a reminder yet again, hey, y'all, don't forget about me too. You see what I mean? Everybody been talking about these other names over the last 2 years, but I'm not hearing my name like it need to be. So I think that was part of it. He overhyped. I think that sometimes that's what make people overdo it, They try to generate. I'm going to generate it so well that I'm going to be so hyped out here that this is going to be when I win. But sometimes that can also turn around and end up being the thing that sinks you.
It was, I think, like you said, I think it was too much energy to channel in.
Right.
That he didn't know how to properly utilize it. You get what I'm saying? So much emotions was probably going through him at that time. He probably remember the time he was on stage with 50, G-Unit, and all different. Nipsey Hussle, that was a big part
It
in
was dope
battles.
that he gave 50 a shout out.
Yeah, the game do that all the time, and the next week you're gonna talk bad about 50. He's very bipolar as hell. He ain't bipolar, you know what I'm saying? Ty, did you see the verses?
No, sir. That's why I'm quiet. I don't have no clue what y'all talking about right now. I don't want to reveal my ignorance. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a fly on the wall right now.
It's all
Bizzle,
right. I got a subtopic for him in a minute.
Bizzle, Bizzle.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch the verses? Any of it?
Yes, sir. And you know what? I personally think YG won. Really, it's just, it's realistic. We all know um games, status in the hip hop world. He will always be a legend. He's a respected MC in my opinion. He can rap good. He has classics, doubtedly, whether is regional or is outside. I feel like everybody has a certain respect for game. I feel like YG just, he was more focused on the music part than Game was. Game early in his career, he got into a beef after or during his first release of his studio album. You know what I mean? Game has never really sat down and to really fulfill his true potential. You know what I mean? I feel like he would have been on YG's level or bigger if he would have fulfilled that true potential, if he really took his time on his music and his projects and stuff. He was just always focused on beef. Like every other year, this man's beefing with somebody. He's
What you
dissing
mean? What you
somebody.
mean? What you mean by level? Because we talk about levels in the game. I think game is more solidified. I think it's YG who needs to get on games.
I mean, yeah, we can argue that because who's gonna fill up the shows more?
I don't
You know what
know.
I mean?
I can't make that
Who's
decision.
who's more of a household name? Who are you gonna know more than other?
No, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, Lord, but YG is not as much as a household name as Game. More people know who Game is. Game,
Yeah.
you feel me? Like,
We can argue that though. We can argue because I could ask three generation. I think most of the millennial and X generation would probably know Game, but that's from like a couple songs. You ask many people who is YG, they could probably reference YG from okay, like that's my nigga song, this song, this song. Even if they don't know YG personally, they know what song YG is playing in the club, playing in someone's car. You don't hear many people unless again it's regional, really playing or listening to Game. I can't ask a random person blindfold if they know Game. 9 out of 10, they're not gonna know Game. I could take more chances and ask someone if they know YG, and they're 9 out of 10 they're gonna notice him from a song they heard in the club, a party or something. No one's really playing the game like that. You know what I mean? I'm
but
just being
but the
honest with
game
you.
is in video games too, bro. Like the game was in GTA San Andreas, you feel me? He voiced one of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
characters. Like I'm pretty sure that the game is in Def Jam Icon, you feel me? Like he's known for more than just rap though, bro. And he's been in movies. He was in Belly too, which flopped, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
and
it fair?
YG has been acting too, but I feel like YG is more relevant as far as rap music and being played on the radio. But as far as their status, YG may be at the top of the West Coast, but the game is more so seen as a legend. You feel me? So I don't think the game needs to be on YG's level. And as far as him not living up to his potential, YG has great albums, but YG don't have an undisputed classic like the documentary. You feel me?
Mm,
Like the
mm.
documentary, like there was a whole, I don't know if y'all remember this or if y'all went through this, but it was a thing of people stealing the documentary from people. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those type of albums where like when it came out, you had to have that. Like it was kind of like almost more so than Get Rich or Die Trying, you feel me? And that would like spread like wildfire
Yeah, you
when
can
it
debate.
first dropped.
You can debate what album was better. Real talk.
You know what
That's
I
a good
mean?
debate.
So
That's a
I
good
just
debate.
we can have that, but I'm just saying, like the game more so, I feel like he didn't take this battle seriously because there's not much more he can do to solidify his legacy. I understand you though, is that most people that weren't around during his prime eras, when he was in his prime, probably just know him for being in beef and for fighting people and things like that. But for a long time, the game was where YG is at now.
And I want to add on too.
That's a good point.
I think he has the best G Unit album, solo, from a solo standpoint. The documentary is better.
Better than Lloyd Banks too?
Yeah, way better than Hunger for More. I'm sorry, it just is what it is.
Wait, do y'all agree with that?
No, I agree with it.
I can't speak on that because I'm not a Lloyd Banks fan, bro. I think he can rap, but like,
It's way better than Hunger for More.
I don't know, bro.
It's way better. Hunger for More is a classic. You know what I'm saying? And that's something real quick, not to dive off topic. That's something that people don't talk about a lot, and it need to be talked about in hip hop. No group besides Wu-Tang Clan that I can remember was dropping banger at the banger from a solo standpoint and coming up with either gold or platinum plaques. Junior was one of them. You get what I'm saying? It was like set up perfect. Banks went plat, Buck went gold, Yayo went gold, Gang went plat. You know, so I just want to add that. Just the question I want to ask y'all before we dive into the dancers that skills want to speak on and other facets of the show. What if Game didn't have that machine behind them fellas? It wouldn't have Dr. Dre. It wouldn't have 50 Cent. It wouldn't it wouldn't have Eminem, right? Would his music and his legacy be still impactful as it is? Because YG didn't have any of that. He came out the woodworks. He rose from the ashes. That's something we got to take into consideration too. You know, yeah. we got to judge rappers. We got to take away certain things that make them who they are to judge what they can be.
See, look,
y'all follow me? What I'm saying?
Yeah, talent is important, but in the end of the day, when it comes to success, you can be the brightest person, you can be the most talented person, but if you don't got if you're not connected with the right people, have the right resources, the right timing, it don't matter. There's a ton of people that are very talented, lyrically, production wise, but they'll never see the light of day because they don't have a Dre behind them, they don't have an Eminem, they don't have a 50 Cent behind them. You know what I mean? And I'm sure all of us on this panel can relate to that at some point. It's like, I'm as capable as in certain things as the next person. You know what I mean? But if I don't have a Dr. Dre behind me, you know what I mean, to push certain ideas forward. So that's my
50 Cent, yeah. And I gotta take that. If you strip Game away from it, you strip him away from it, and him and YG is on even playing fields. Who would have the better catalog? Who would be more prominent in LA? That's something to take into serious consideration, bro.
I mean, I'm sure you probably more likely to hear YG song at a party than a Game song. That don't mean that they don't listen to Game, but the Game was more so focused on being a lyricist. YG developed his lyricism and storytelling more so over time. But his first album is a classic to me, My Crazy Life. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, but see, it's hard to compare them because YG benefits from a scene where the Game put on for them. You feel me? So, and then he came out around the same time or a little bit after, like the hyphy movement and all that. You know what I mean? So it's like he came out in an era where they wanted to dance. You feel me? Not to say that during Game's time they weren't dancing, but it was more lyricism based. You feel me? Like you had the Dog Pound. Like the Dog Pound, they known for like Nate Dogg's hooks and all that and Daz's beats, but like they not slouches lyrically. I prefer Corrupt more than Daz, but you know what I mean? Like Daz isn't whack. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do think that the Game would have had a way more difficult time had he not had his cosigns. But YG's first single that blew up had Ty Dolla $ign on it, though. Even though that was Ty Dolla $ign before he was famous, that still is a major feature. And Kendrick is on YG first album. So
What Kendrick were we talking about? Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City? That's,
Um, I can't remember the exact year. I think it was Good Kid, Mad City because I feel like My Crazy Life came out in 2014. I think
yeah. So
I think it came out in 2014. I'm
he's
not
at the
100% sure though.
so he's K Dot at the time. He's off the hype of drink, right? No
Yes,
pools. Was it? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
swimming
yeah.
pools.
Swimming pools. He's off that hype. Still can't compare it to 50 Cent being on his album. You can't compare that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And 50 Cent can make anybody go gold, especially during his run. You could be just started rapping today. Literally. No exaggeration. Just start rapping today. I mean, just pick up a pad and say, I think I want to do this. And have Dr. Dre on them damn boards and 50 Cent on 3 of them songs, you're going platinum during that hype. That's real talk. Real talk. That's real talk. Y'all want to speak about the dances before we move on? Skill.
Yeah,
Serious
because
about
there's a
the
big
dance.
debate going on online, right? As to why exactly did he pick two Latinas to bring up on stage? You get what I'm saying? Because like I was watching Joe Budden's podcast earlier today, right? And they were talking about it, right? And they were having this debate because they said, and this is not I'm paraphrasing, but basically on the JBP, on the Joe Budden podcast, they were saying that the rumor is that in clubs in New York, right, they feel that black men more so are looking at Hispanic women as far as like being attracted to them, right? So they say that at the clubs in New York, if you are darker skinned, then they have you be like a bottle girl or have you as a bartender. But as far as the dancers are Dominican. You get what I'm saying?
I was watching that too earlier. The paper bag thing they was talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly
That
right.
still exists in New York?
I don't know. I've never been to strip club in New York.
Me
You know
neither.
what I mean? So
But the paper bag theory, like anything darker than a paper bag is considered black, and anything that's a paper bag or lighter is considered something else.
Something like that, yeah.
I guess.
That's crazy.
I've heard of that with sororities back in the
Yeah,
day.
that's where school days come from.
Yeah, yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that.
That's a good
that's a classic movie.
that's a good segue into what we want to talk about, man. What identifies black? You know what I'm saying? What identifies blackness? And me and Ty I said, man, you want to anchor the panel, man? I said, yo, we should hit him in the head with this. Would you date outside your race? If so, the scenario, if you was the only person on the planet, was with another woman outside your race, would you repopulate the earth?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wait, but hold on. Before we go there, family, do you think that this is rightfully so an issue, or do you think people are just looking for something to be mad about as far as having an issue with YG in the game bringing two Latinas up there instead of bringing some sisters up there?
You want to go down that rabbit hole, pause.
I mean,
Let's go. Let's do it. Go ahead, Ty.
yeah.
Yeah, let's
And
do
I'll
it.
put this too. YG has been accused of colorism before. I don't know
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
watched Nipsey's funeral. He basically went up there and he was talking and he was like, he was making a joke and he was like, we got some pretty light skinned girls to raise. I'm paraphrasing it, but he says something like that in regard to Nipsey's daughters, and it was an issue, not within the family, but in social media, it was an issue because it was like, why couldn't you had just said we got to raise his daughters? Like, why? You feel me? So
Or
he's
raise
been
some,
accused of colorism.
or we got black women to raise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And look, I will say this, just off the top of my head, representation matters. So, like we always got to remember what that stage represents. When you get on stage and perform, it's just not a performance. It's a well, you got to think about the symbolism and the messages that you're sending and how people are perceiving those messages and how it affects people and so on and so forth. So when you do, when you make a choice Whether you intend for that choice to, to be harmful or not, it has an effect on people. When you choose two Latinas over, some sisters, it says something, whether you intend to or not. That's how it's perceived. So, I it is weird to me, like, like it would raise a flag to me, like if you black and you reach for Latino sisters, and then you're doing paper bag tests and so on and so forth. Like that's going to indicate that I feel like there's a deeper issue with yourself. You know what I mean? That what issue with colorism and colorist thinking.
Yeah,
So
especially when we no longer there's no need for the programming. Like Gov can vouch for me on this. In the '90s, and even in the '80s, right? They would have a lot of light skinned women of a light skinned hue in the videos, um, with a certain body build and weight size and head texture, because there was a good aesthetic for the viewer. They understood visual signs
Yeah.
and what draws the people in, right? Not saying it's right or wrong, not agreeing with it, but I'm just telling you what they were doing.
Right.
Because it's all, at the end of the day, it's about what draws more attention and what draws more attention in their wallet, right? So you're living in a time now where that's no longer needed. And for these guys to bring these women on stage like that, although we can travel down a rabbit hole what is black, what is considered black, because some Latinos consider themselves black, but it's diving into a different
I
topic.
do not believe that those women were Afro-Latina, but I hear what you're saying. And they did have a sister on stage, but they were not dancing with her how they was dancing with the Latinas. They was on the Latinas like white on rice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's no need for 2026 to have that sort of aesthetic to draw attention unless you're programmed throughout the industry. And that's like abuse and mental abuse is passed down. Certain other abuses and mental illnesses are passed down as well. So what they was probably doing was something on top of what they were fighting themselves. They were dealing with programming, because you got to remember, these people was around the industry, the Dr. Dre's and the people who from that era that look at lighter as a better aesthetic. You get what I'm saying? So for them to do that, they probably did that. What the word I could use for? Y'all smarter than me on this panel. The correct word. It's something that they just they've been so embedded to do, it just came naturally without even thinking about it. And it's
subconsciously.
so, thank you. And there's so much swept under the rug, and no one is not. It's not enough people speaking up on it. And if they are speaking up on it, they're not being heard. I thought we passed that. I thought guys like Kendrick in his videos and his music celebrated the darker sister and the black
But
woman.
see, they got at him about that too. I don't mean to cut you off, but his
girl, his
yeah.
wife. So yeah, let's flip it though. Let's say if it was black women, let's say if it was Sexy Red on stage and somebody else, right? And they called some Latino brothers on stage and left the black brothers out. It'd be the black men would be in the uproar. I always say that you ain't got to agree, but if you want to understand someone's shoes and how they feel, you got to put yourself in their place. It's as simple as that.
I think it's touchy. I think that's a touchier thing when it comes to females than when it comes to dudes. You know what I mean? So, like, I think the common dude reaction, if that's what happened, like say Sexy Red did that, we just wouldn't care. You know what I mean? But like
some of us,
right, like a good amount.
Yeah.
but I don't know. When it comes to that, that's like a preference thing too, though. You know what I mean? Because I remember going through phases throughout life where I remember that was my preference. I preferred the lighter. Then after a while, I said, nah, I've been on dark pretty much ever since. But that's just one of those things. But at the same time, I don't know. The game is always going to be a part of it because it's a part of human nature, basically. You know what I mean? it's a part of what sells the theme. Think about the whole theme of that Verzuz. You know what I mean? Because it was like a West Coast Compton at the same time, Blood all at the same time. So it was like almost like a whole big thing. And then when you bring them in, it's like a status type of a deal. You look at what's hot right now, who's the hot ones, and it's kind of like a thing that's always been, which is a shame actually in a way, because it's gotten to the point that we judge each other based on that. You know what I mean? Even within, like we talk about the fact that, the society being what it is, and we'll split up even more and just go light versus dark. That's, you know what I mean? We don't need to do that.
Yeah, that was on the plantations, Willie Lynch and everybody else. Here he is, 400 years ahead,
Right.
and it's traveling. Like I said, the oppressors, they don't think a week ahead of it. They think countries are years. Bizzle, what you think, man? What you have an issue with the Latinos coming on stage and situation with the sisters? And here's the thing. I think in the Joe Buttons podcast, correct me if I'm wrong, Skills, I think there's like, where are the pretty women? And I think the DJ was like, I don't see any. I think they're in the far corner right there. So you bypass all them black women. Said the only pretty women in the
that
venue,
was crazy. And I think
the
the
only
DJ
pretty
was.
women in the venue is these Latino women. Like, come on.
I think I could be wrong, but I think the DJ was Latina too. You feel me? But I could be wrong, but I think so. But I think that she wasn't trying to disrespect whoever was in the front. I think that those women were not just random women that they brought on stage. I think they were hired dancers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, we're not going to take a chance by just bringing somebody on stage. We're just going to bring so-and-so. But at the end of the day, regardless, they still pick whoever they pick. You feel me? So, yeah. But I do think that was wild for her to say. You know what I mean? She could have just been like, let's pick them over there. Instead of being like, I don't see pretty girls or whatever. She said.
Aesthetics. Bizzle.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what is? Can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the internet's lagging. Do you have an issue with the Latinos sisters jumping on stage and doing their thing, and no black women besides one was picked? Or is it just, I mean, how do you feel about it? Can you hear me?
Yes. Say one more time.
Okay. Do you have an issue with what took partake on stage with the Latino women coming on stage and performing, dancing and stuff, and as if they was the only pretty women in the building? No black sisters on stage.
I don't have an issue, and I tell you why. These are the things that we just got to nip in the bud. For some reason, why they would do that, why they would get on stage and feel like they're the only ones that are just, running the show. That shows you a lot. I'm not saying this is the case, but that shows you when it comes to outside races and cultures, there's a lot of arrogance towards our people coming from them. I'm not putting everybody in the same boat, but I'm not really surprised by that 100%.
So if that's all we're going to talk about as far as the game situation, do y'all agree with the 3-12? I think the number could have been a little higher. But
no, it was closer than that, but YG did win. It was closer than that, though. I think 3-12 was crazy.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I enjoyed it. And it introduced me to YG. Go back and listen to some of his music. I didn't know he had so many bangers. All right, let's move on to the second topic, man. What defines blackness? I want to hear from the panel. And again, how do y'all feel about colorism? Has that played a part in your lives? Like Skills mentioned the word self-consciously. I think that's what you said. Has it? I'd like to know from y'all. This is very interesting. Because I know that shit. I know that
What I call it?
The volcano from out of Iceland. They come to take over the rap game like the white man. Hiller than Hitler, photobomb at Yahoo, at the bar mitzvah. Watch me do it like the Pointer Sisters. Slip arsenic in your corn liquor. Two bigger L's than the Aubrey nigga. From Pappy Mason to Pastor Mason, the church was vacant. Preacher with Bobby, trapped in the basement. I'm laughing, just imagine the Sleepy Beauty had herpes.